So today we have a super special guest. I'm very excited to have join us. It is Nate Riech, Paralympian, gold medalist for Canada. Nate, thank you so much for joining us today.
Of course, man. Thank you for having me on. I think it's overdue for sure. I think I was a bit on my side, but hey, happy that we can catch up.
Yeah, so just for the context, the first time I met Nate was just about a year ago, working on another project with my brother. We reached out to a bunch of different Paralympians, and Nate was the first one that messaged back to us. I distinctly recall after that call, my brother and I both looked at each other and said, Nate Reach is one of the coolest people we've ever met. So knew we had to interview him again today. Nate, I'll just give you a moment just to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do.
Absolutely. I hope nice and crazy are the same word because I'm definitely a bit crazy, but yeah, I'm like you said, I'm Nate Reich. I'm a Paralympic athlete for Team Canada, world record holder in the 8 and the 15, two-time world champion and Paralympic champion. And I grew up in a pretty cool family, and honestly, I don't think I had an option not to play sports. So, that was I'm super lucky to be born in that, and I think some people can see that as a positive or negative, but I always saw it as a positive. And running's a thing that I do. It's definitely not who I am. There's many aspects of that really make up Nate, and I always like to talk, obviously, about the running side, but love to talk about the non-running side as well.
Awesome. And a lot of that is what we're going to dive into as well today, Nate, just because I think it's so cool to talk about, yeah, what you do for a living, what your thing is, which is running, but also get to know you from a different level, the things that most people won't hear in other interviews. And yeah, so I'm looking forward to delving in. The first thing I wanted to talk about is, growing up, as you said, you had athlete parents. What was life like growing up in the Reach family?
Yeah, so life was pretty amazing to be honest with you. I grew up with my mom and my stepdad, so a lot in the Tucker and Harrison household, which was, I definitely wouldn't change it for the world. I kind of got thrown in and was born while my parents were still competing, which was super cool to see. I mean, I was able to go hang out at the track and see Olympic gold medalists or world record holders, so that was really cool. Or I would get to go watch my stepdad play baseball, or go watch one of his friends play baseball. Like his college roommate was Aaron Boone. I remember when he was playing for the Reds, and him and Ken Griffey Jr. threw me a ball during the game, and I was like, man, I thought I was really, really cool. And I think I learned a lot during that time. I think the thing that really sticks out during that time is just like the ability to work hard. Not my parents didn't have to tell me about it. They really showed me. And I think there's something to having the ability to show a kid that, and their careers wasn't linear. Wasn't great all the time. I saw them struggle through pretty big injuries, and so also I was like, there's part of the sport that's really, really tough and really, really ruthless. And so I think from a young age, I knew that I would have to work hard, and you might not get to that mountaintop, but it's certainly worth going after.
And what sports did your parents play?
So my biological mom and dad were both track and field. My mom was pole vault, and my biological dad was javelin. And then stepmom was high jump, and stepdad was professional baseball player.
That's incredible, Nate. I mean, biological parents and step parents athlete. It's no wonder, you ended up where you are, but that's incredible. What did you play growing up? What did you start with running or did you have other sports before that?
I thought running was so stupid. To be honest with you, I was like, man, you can drive in a car. Why on earth would you go out there and bust your butt and do all this running stuff? Baseball was definitely my passion. I was growing up in Phoenix, Arizona. Diamondbacks won the World Series in 2001, and I mean, my stepdad. I mean, he's still my hero. One time I always thought he looked like Clark Kent, and one time he showed up in the Superman outfit, and I think even though that I'm older, my stepdad's always kind of been that superhero for me. It might sound super cheesy, but honestly, like anytime that I had a hard decision and didn't go to my mom, he was definitely that person that always had my back, and I wanted to be just like him, and wanted to play baseball, wanted to be a pitcher, and so I excelled in that from an early age. And I think I having a biological dad that was a javelin thrower, and having a stepdad that was a baseball player. It's I think I was very lucky because I definitely had some natural skills, but also had some pretty dang good coaching.
That sounds so cool, Nate. Yeah, so you kind of had to dip your toe in everything when you were younger, experience what you like, figure out what you didn't like as well. And at what age did you get into running for the first time? You say you hated it initially, thought like, I'll just get in a car instead. What sparked that transition?
Honestly, I really believe that like running chose me. I always, like I said, wanted to be a baseball player so bad. And after my injury in 2005, basically my mom came to me and was like, "You can play these sports, and the other sports sound like they sucked." And running was kind of the only one that I could really do. And part of me was like, it's kind of the family business, so maybe I can try and see how good I can really be. And I always knew distance runners to be pretty tough. Like sometimes we're kind of boring, but also, I kind of like that toughness aspect to it. Running, if you're running a 5K, running, 3 miles, that blistering, sub for 20 miles for the fastest guys in the world. And, I think I always love something that's really challenging. And I think that's really what kind of drifted me towards that, is that I was not good at it at the start. And so there's nothing like a challenge that you're not good at first. And, with hopes and dreams of excelling and getting to the top level one day.
Yeah, Nate, yesterday I was just watching actually one of your videos. I can't remember where it was, maybe Tokyo competing. And seeing you guys run sub 4 minute 1500 meters is just crazy to me. I think it was unreal to watch because my experience with track and field was in high school, where guys are trying to get under the 1 minute mark for the 400 meters. So to see you do 4 laps all at that same pace just blows my mind. So, I mean, kudos to you. Let's change gears a little bit now. You said after the accident in 2005. I want to delve a little bit deeper into that. It's such a crazy story. It was in the National Post way back. There's an article available detailing everything, but I just wanted to hear from you as well. What happened, and then let's chat about a bit about your rehab journey as well and how you moved forward.
Yeah, definitely. So I got hurt playing the most leisure sport that you can really play out there. I was playing golf with a bunch of my friends, and we were trying to kill some time in between an all-star tournament. And I think honestly, like we were 10 and just absolutely driving our parents bonkers. So we just had to go and go to the links and play some golf, and everything was going pretty normal until I think it was the sixth hole, and a older group of gentlemen asked to play through. We were in Phoenix, Arizona at the time, and Fahrenheit wise, it was like 120 degrees out, so it was just a hot, blistering day in July. And so they said, "Why don't you hit your balls and go stand under the tree about 150 yards left of the fairway?" And yeah, remember hearing the sound of the driver, and then like hearing this numb sensation kind of come from my body. And I guess I had just been hit in the head by the golf ball. And I knew right then that something was wrong. I didn't know how serious it was. I was a pretty dramatic kid growing up, and so I think my mom thought I was faking it, which honestly is like it's funny to give her a jab here and there, but honestly, like it's like I don't know what else you would expect because I was so dramatic growing up. And then she was like, "All right, well, I'm gonna take your friends home first, and I'll drive you to the hospital." As I got closer and closer to the hospital, you could really tell that something was really wrong. And I think I was so naive, which really helped me. And, did not know the journey that I was really about to go on. We got to the hospital, and my mom had told me to jump out and run into the emergency room, and dragging my leg, and I couldn't walk. And so my mom had to basically like carry me into that room, and I still kind of was naive. And then I had my first seizure when I got back to my personal hospital room, and that's kind of my oh crap moment. Like, I don't know, something's not really not right, and I just kept losing movement and movement, where I just became paralyzed on the right side of my body. And that time was it's really tough, but I mean, I don't see my story as like super special or super great. Like, I think everyone has that really tough moment, and that honestly was just mine. But I don't think like yeah, like I said, we all have tough moments, but it's like really how you bounce back from that moment. Like what type of character do you have? And so for me, my parents drilled that into me really, really young is like, it's not like what happens, it's how you react to it. And so, um, I felt like I had a lot of doubters being doctors, being, family friends maybe didn't think I would recover the way I did. And, I always love proving people wrong and maybe a little bit too much. That's kind of the fieriness I have behind me. And so, we got to go on this journey where it wasn't perfect, where there was times where I'm sure I said poor me, but my parents were my anchor and they always kind of brought me back to center and said, Nate, listen, you can still accomplish all those things you set out to. It's just is gonna look different and it could take way longer.
Yeah, that's incredible, Nate. I recall reading in the article as well, you spent 8 years afterwards doing physio, trying to get back to, some new level of function. Just out of curiosity, when, after the accident for that 8 years, were you working with, so I'm a physiatrist, it's like functional rehab medicine. Were you working
Yeah.
with a physiatrist at the time?
I was not. I did a lot of OT, was where I did a lot of it, and my uncle is a human movement specialist, so he kind of got into that like right after I got hurt. I don't know if I was the reason why he got into that, and so I really started working with him, trying to figure out, with my nervous system being a bit messed up, what we need to do to still allow me to compete at a really high level. Luckily, we had, I mean, almost everyone in my family is in sports science or sports medicine. So I was super lucky to have that background. And, um, excuse me, but yeah, I was super lucky to have that background. And I was, wanting to get on that playing field as quickly as I possibly could. And, I think it was tough too during that time. You don't want to be different in junior high. Like you want to be like everyone else. And I certainly was not like everyone else. I stuttered and stammered if I read or if I talked in class. I dropped my lunch all the time at lunch, just because I would kind of slip and my hand would get really weak. And so, yeah, I felt like I stuck out like a sore thumb there for a while.
At what point in that recovery journey did you start to feel like, maybe I really can get better? Because I can imagine right after the accident, entire right side is, paralyzed or weaker than the left at very least. And it must be terrifying. When did you start to think maybe I can actually reach a level of function that I can be happy with again?
Yeah, so it came back really quickly, actually. They wrote medical journals on my injury because they're just not sure why I'm able to walk, nonetheless actually run. And so it came back really quick. And honestly, I haven't gotten all that better after I got out of the hospital. But our big thing was like, if you don't use it, then you're probably going to lose it. And so for me, it was like just really diving into physical activity. And like I said earlier, like my mom is, she's a great, so kind, so great, but she is a tough woman. She don't want me to come home early. She doesn't care if I have a migraine. It does not matter to her. She wants me to go and accomplish those things. And so she definitely used some tough love over the years. And honestly, like looking back, I'm so thankful because I'm kind of a person that beats to my own drum. And I don't know, obviously, where I'd be without her. And so I think it was pretty early on, to be honest with you. Like I really, really wanted to get a D1 scholarship. I think I made that goal like a week after I got out of the hospital. So I was pretty fired up and ready to go.
Did you get the scholarship?
I did. Yeah, I ran at Furman and South Alabama,
Um,
2 years at each, and what got a full ride my senior year. So, yeah, that was something that we always set out to do. And I didn't really know much about the Paralympics. I don't think honestly most people knew a lot about the Paralympics in 2015, 2016, and so, then that kind of came in my view, and that kind of uh, flipped my world upside down in a very different way than my injury did.
Yeah, so let's dive into that. Is that getting that scholarship and then competing throughout college? Is that what set you on the track to do the Paralympics later on?
Yeah, so it was never a plan. That's for sure. Like, man, I sucked in college. Like, it was rough. Like, you have go into college with aspirations and goals, and I didn't achieve one of them. And so, I was, a lot of people were like, "Oh, you're being really hard on yourself." I'm like, "No, it's just the truth." Like, I didn't. Like, I never made regionals for track. Obviously, never made the national meet for track. I went to regionals for cross country a couple times, but that was more a team thing. I definitely didn't get there because of myself. And I just knew there was something more for this from the sport that I really wanted. I didn't know if that was me being a coach, me being a mentor, or me being an athlete. And so, about a year after I graduated from college, that was kind of my time where I just figured out, what do I really want from track? What do I want for my life? And it just came down to, I told my siblings to always go and chase their dreams. And how would that reflect on me if I didn't go and chase those things? And my siblings have always been my greatest motivation, to hopefully make them proud and be a good role model for them. And so I really leaned into that, and then I had to pick a country, either the U.S. or Canada, and obviously we know which one I picked. And honestly, it's like kind of like the rest is history. I've been on this like wild roller coaster ride, that I don't want to get off anytime soon.
And it's been incredible seeing you on that ride as well. I'm sure your siblings are so beyond proud of you at this point. You've achieved more than what you set out. You wanted a scholarship and you ended up being an international champion at the Paralympics. And it's just incredible to see that journey. And this year, 2023, has been a huge year for you too. I recall several months back, we saw you in the news. I think it was on CBC, speaking out about Paralympians not having enough sponsorships. And I think that was such an apt point, because we see our Olympians, and whether you're at the very top or you're more in the mid level of your sport, you're getting sponsored by someone. But even a top athlete like you in the Paralympics was having difficulty getting sponsorships. And in 2023, you got sponsored by ASICS. So tell me how it felt when that happened and the whole process of that.
Yeah, absolutely. It really all started when I was a bit disgruntled and shot out a tweet after On Running decided to not take me on as a ambassador role. And I just felt like they always talk about how we want Paralympic athletes on our staff and on our team, and but really they weren't really. And it's not an On thing. I think On's a great brand. I just don't think brands are putting their money where their mouth was. And so, I really felt like, honestly thought three people were going to see it. Like, I didn't, and I made sure that I was like really nice about it, and I didn't want to bash the company, but I just kind of wanted to bring it to people's attention. And it was honestly super surprising to me with how many people cared about it. I think one of the opening or the eye-opening things was that they thought I made like 80 to $100,000 a year, and I was like, guys, I can barely pay my rent. And that was very surprising to a lot of people. They're like, wait, you don't get money for winning worlds? I'm like, no, from who? And so, I talked to one other company, and they didn't seem to be too interested, and that came from that post that I made. A friend of mine kind of connected me with one of his sponsors, and then Melissa Bishop, who is a close friend of mine. And honestly, like, I'm not too sure why she's always stuck up for me. She's always been someone who's always been in my corner. And she kind of talked about my character to ASICS, and it sounds like ASICS wanted to kind of feel me out for a while, and then when they found out that I was really that person that Bish was of saying that I was, things kind of happened pretty quickly. The contracts usually take a while, and I had already agreed to terms when you saw that CBC Sports um, interview, but I unfortunately I couldn't say anything at the time, and obviously it would have been really cool timing because it was 2 days after I'd won my world title. And that's probably I've won two world titles, but that's the one I'm most proud of because honestly, I sucked during the year. Like, I couldn't break 350. The year before, I broke 350 like six times. I just had a lot of new things in my life, and I was trying to balance everything. And honestly, I just didn't do a good job of the athlete side. And I really honed in for 8 weeks prior to that championship, and just became this this old athlete that I used to be, and honestly, I had to kind of reinvent myself because I don't just train all day like I used to. Like I have some business opportunities. I have my sibling sports. I had a girlfriend, so it was, at that time, I was learning how to balance things. And so it's really cool now to have them behind me. And it's just a cool opportunity. I always said I just need an opportunity, and I really think I can show a brand what Paralympic athletes can do. And so it's huge. And for me, I don't get butthurt if another Paralympic athlete gets a sponsorship gig. I think as long as a Paralympic athlete gets it, I'm super happy, and I just want to see more opportunities. And I think obviously it's not only on the brands. We need to do a better job. Number one, like for example, for me, telling my story, I need to do a better job at that, and also doing a better job of sharing content. I think sometimes athletes are a bit lazy on the content side, and I'll raise my hand. I've definitely done that for sure. And so, I'm really looking to hopefully some of my followers to tell me what they want to see, because I'm happy to kind of let you in, but I got to know what you want to see.
Well, Nate, the first thing I want to say is it's no mystery to me why Melissa has supported you all these years. I mean, you're the nicest guy. It's very clear to everyone I think that you meet that you just care about people. So that's clearly why. And then the second piece is I love that you're the figurehead for Paralympians now, and you're someone with a sponsorship, and you're finally, I guess, making the money that you deserve. I didn't myself realize that you don't get paid anything as well for winning gold medals. Before you had sponsorships and before you had these business opportunities, where did money come from?
Yeah, so I was carded, and so that's the government. You get paid a certain stipend per month. I think we got 5,000 in Paralympics for winning gold, and able body gets 25. And it comes from different, like the able body side is privately funded, and ours is government funded through, well, it's I guess kind of privately funded and governmentally funded, but it came from one individual that decided to step up. We were gonna get zero money for medals, and then gentleman gave like 1.5 or $2 million. And honestly, that's the only reason why we got money for medals, which was so cool. And so yeah, honestly, you just had to live cheap. And yeah, that's honestly that's pretty much how it went, because I had no sponsorships. So it wasn't like I think I got Can Fund once during that time. So 8 or 5,000 at that time went a long way. And then recently just got it again, and now they've upped it to $8,000. So those came at pretty key times for me, where I was like contemplating, like, do I need to get out of the sport because I just can't pay my bills?
I think a lot of people would find that baffling that someone who's competing at the top level of their sport is not able to pay their bills. It's almost criminal. And then you see the delta as well. The 5,000 or now 8,000 versus 25 is just it's disheartening to hear about it. But I
Yeah,
guess
no,
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
no, I'll say no. It's it's certainly tough. I mean, I think Paralympic sport is in a transition. Like, there's definitely a inclusivity that we certainly want, and that needs to be there, but also we want to be high performance. We want to be equal to the Olympians, and some people can say we are there, but we're not there yet. And that's a lot of things, right? That's just not one thing. And so I think my big thing why I spoke out about the shoe deal is, honestly, I'm at the tail end of my career, and I didn't think I would get a deal. To be honest with you, like, I was like, I probably won't get a deal, but if it helps the next generation get a deal, then I feel like it's worth it. And so I think as I get older, some people laugh, saying like, we really like how you're outspoken, because a lot of people don't really do it, and I really pick and choose my things, because I never want the poor me. It's just not my personality. I don't even like the word deserved. I think you should earn it. And that's like one thing that the head guy at ASICS told me, is that, hey Nate, you've really earned this, and sometimes you got to show that you earned it multiple times over, and that's sometimes what Paralympic athletes have to do.
I really appreciate the distinction you make between deserve and earn. I think looking at your entire life story, right? No one deserves to get hit in the head with a golf ball. No one deserves to have a side of their body paralyzed, to spend 8 years in physiotherapy. No one deserves any of that. And then by the same token, you're not saying that you deserved these sponsorships, you deserve the success. You're saying that you earned it all. And I think that's a really healthy approach. So it's just incredible to hear how far you've come from, playing all these sports when you were younger to discovering running afterwards to succeeding at this level and now looking to help the next generation. Thinking about the content that you would want to produce, the first thing that comes to my mind is I see your training content. It's awesome. But one big question I had for you was diet, because I think a lot of people are always wondering, the what I eat in a days are huge. What does an average day of eating look like for you, particularly when you're training?
Yeah, so it's depends on because my training. That's the thing that's so cool about the 1500 meters is that you do all the training. You do like the heavy lifts, you do the stability lifts, you do the power, you do the speed, you do the endurance. So it really matters what a typical day, but like a Tuesday is usually one of my hard workouts. For breakfast, of course, got to have your coffee. I mean, I don't think I can really live without my coffee. And I'll go either omelet with vegetables and two slices of toast, or I'll go oatmeal. Those are kind of the two variations I like. And then I'll go train. And then when I get back from training, within 30 minutes, I get a Dot Fit shake in. I think it's like around 30 to 35 grams of protein. It has some carbs as well. It's the first string protein. And then within 2 hours of finishing my workout, I want a meal. So a lot of times I'm a simple guy. A lot of my teammates make fun of me for that, but I love a good old like rice and chicken with some teriyaki sauce with some vegetables on the side. And then I'll usually have a snack 2 hours after that, which is usually like yogurt and some fruit. And then I'm over at my parents' house a lot for dinner, and I will go against anyone saying that my stepdad is the best cook of all time. And so he cooks fire meals every night, chicken piccata to homemade pizzas on the smoker to pretty much steak all the time. And so I try and have some variety there. I think that's really important. Like you can eat eggs and toast every day, but I think it kind of gets bland and you don't get like excited to get that new nutrition. It's like training. If you don't get excited to train, then like at some point it'll become more work than it is actually something that you're passionate about. And so I try to find that variety in there. And I'm definitely not, I don't love vegetables. Or my main thing is like I don't think about it. Like if vegetables are there, I'll eat them 100%. But like when I'm at the store, it's not like the first thing I think of, like when I'm thinking of my budget, like, oh, let me get some vegetables. So that's definitely one thing that's a work in progress for sure. But I have a 6 day diet program or nutrition plan that I can send to you that I use. My nutritionist did it personally for me, and so if you want to throw it up on the screen, I can email it to you.
That's awesome, Nate. Yeah, if you could, I'd love to see it. I'll definitely put it up on the screen for anyone watching. And then I think that's also the type of content that your followers would love to see, just a little bit deeper into your life, your training, your diet, just to see, what is behind Nate Riech. So yeah, Nate, before we wrap up, there's just a few things I wanted to ask you. I want to start with some rapid fire questions just so everyone can get to know you a little bit better, things aside from running and stuff like that. So first one, you've said your stepdad is an amazing cook, so I'm curious about this one. What's your favorite food?
So for my birthday every year, I would always ask for ribs, my mom's Caesar salad, and some grilled shrimp. So that would be like my favorite plate for sure.
Nice, can't go wrong with that. What's your
Absolutely.
favorite movie?
Gladiator.
Oh, that's hilarious, Nate. My dad must have seen Gladiator 40, 50 times. Basically every weekend when I come home, Gladiator's on, so I love it. Uh,
Him and I would get along. My brother, his name comes from it, Maximus. So yeah,
oh, that's awesome. What is your favorite sport aside from running?
golf. Absolutely. I love
That's
playing
awesome.
and watching golf. A lot of my teammates say they've never seen someone yell at the TV while they're watching golf, but I'm that guy.
So I recently got into watching golf, and I feel like the reason I watch golf is because I watch them play and I think about what I would do in that situation. Is that how you watch golf, or do you watch just to see sort of what they're doing?
Yeah, sometimes I think I have a great appreciation for the mental side of golf. Like, I know how tough it is, especially when you absolutely know you can't hit it left and you hit it left, but then you somehow have to make a recovery from there. So that's definitely my uh, favorite part about golf, and just to see how they deal with adversity. I think it's like you almost have to have a PhD in adversity when it comes to golf. And you don't get like a 3 minute set rest. Like you gotta go walk to the ball and gotta forget everything that just happened if it was bad or good. And so I really like that. I think, golf definitely gets some slack, saying that they're not real athletes, but I think they are, and I think that they're pretty amazing athletes.
Oh, they're absolutely amazing athletes, and golf is probably the toughest mental sport out there. So, I mean, I can see you being excellent at golf. Um,
I would not go with excellent. I can slap the ball around, but it's definitely not pretty.
all right, Nate, what's your favorite TV show?
Sons of Anarchy.
Oh, I don't think I've ever heard of it. What's the one-liner on the show?
So it's a biker gang, and they get into all kinds of trouble, and it's a very, very violent show. I won't lie, but my stepdad and I used to always watch it together. He would jump on the bike and do his cardio workout, and I'd just be sitting on the couch. And so, with him working so much, it was kind of like the time we got to hang out together, with just him and I. So I always really enjoyed it.
That sounds awesome, man. And then the last rapid fire question is, what is the best book you've ever read?
Green Light by Matthew McConaughey.
Nice. All right, Nate. So before we wrap up, I have one more question for you. I think it's just a fun one to ask people to get to know them. If you have one or if you have several, both are okay. What is the best day of your life or the best memory that you have from your past?
It's a tough one. There's three that immediately come to my head. The first one is when I ran 347 in the 1500, and I broke the world record, and I had been stuck at above 350 for like 4 years. I honestly, there was a lot of doubt. I thought, like, will I ever get under 350? And I went from 350 to 347. So that was really cool. I did a road trip with my stepdad from Arizona to Victoria when I moved to Victoria, and we just had the most fun that I've ever had with him. Just stopping in random cities and having funny people watching and funny people experiences at the bar or at the restaurant. And then lastly was this year watching my brother Max win the U20 decathlon national title for Canada. I think everyone had been hearing me talk about Max for so long, and I think they just thought because I was his brother that they said that he was really good. But I'm like, I don't do that. If you're not a good athlete, like I'm not gonna vocally tell everyone that he's a good athlete. And I got so many text messages because in his interview he said like, I want to say thank you so much, Nate. He's been one of my mentors or whatever. And I got so many texts like, wait, that's your brother? I'm like, yeah, I've been telling you guys this for a while now. And so that was really cool just to see how pumped he was. And he celebrated similar to me at the finish line. I'm like, oh boy, we're both a little bit intense.
Oh, those are three awesome moments, Nate. All right, before we wrap up, is there anything that you want to leave with someone listening, something that you just want people to know?
Yeah, I mean, I think I would love for you guys to follow the Paralympics coming up in August and September of 2024. I think I've never met someone who doesn't enjoy Paralympic sport. They just don't understand it. And if you have any questions, or like you said, if you want to see certain content from me, you can find me anywhere at Nate Graywolf, which makes it pretty easy. And yeah, thank you so much for having me on, Doc. I really appreciate it.
Nate, it's always a pleasure. I'm always so happy to talk to you. So thank you so much for joining. And yeah, to everyone listening, take care.